Bye bye, Blackbird. Pack up all my cares and woes. Here I go, singing low. Bye, bye, Blackbird. Where somebody waits for me. It's sweet, and so is he. Bye, bye, Blackbird. No one here can love and understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they'll all have me. So make my bed and light that light. I'll arrive late tonight, Blackbird. Bye bye. Pack up all my cares and woes. Here I go, swinging low. Bye bye, Blackbird. Where somebody waits for me. His sugar's sweet, and so is he. Bye bye, Blackbird. No one here can love and understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they'll hand me. So make my bed and light that light. I'll arrive late tonight, Blackbird. Bye bye. Yeah. No one here can love and understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they'll all hand me. So make my bed and light that light. I'll arrive late tonight, Blackbird. Blackbird, Blackbird. Bye bye.
Woo! Okay, that's my I always wanted to be a Sunday morning soprano and be like, woo! Okay, I can't hit that. But that's what Lynnette does for me, my minister of flavor and musical vibes. Woohoo! Hey fam. I feel like the Varnell Hill from the he was a character on Martin Lawrence's show, and he would come on and be like, "Did you miss me?" That's kind of how I feel like I want to come out here and say, "Did you miss me?" I missed y'all. I am Alexis Roan, aka Alexis Grace, founder of Truth Meets Story LLC, expanding empathy one story at a time, and your host for Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers, a faith and adult storytelling series. Now, listen, when I say faith, I'm saying that we're exploring the mystery of how God moves and how God shows up, and the storytellers are the sort of the conduits of that message. But by adult storytelling, I mean stories for adults by adults, told in an adult manner, meaning we don't ever apologize for having a developed context and, being out of our parents' house and, they letting us cuss or whatever. That's how we get down here on Jesus, Jazz, and Dessert Wine. 7-year-olds have a story time, and now so do adults. So you're welcome. Listen, this has been, I really have missed you. And I got to tell you, I had good on paper plans for the holidays that included me doing a lot of resting and writing and just kind of sitting still because the powers that be told us to sit still, don't go out, don't be out there and, creating super spreader events. And so I just thought, okay, I'm gonna be home, and so will everyone else. Well, it turns out I was the only one that was at home. Y'all, I was watching y'all's stuff on social media, and I was jealous and I was mad. And I kind of wish that there was like a snitch patrol. If there was like a COVID snitch patrol, I promise you, I'd have been all up in there. And then if they attached the reward to it too, what? I'd be like, okay, go to so-and-so's Facebook page. They posted this thing an hour ago. And they tagged their location. Y'all better stop tagging y'all's location until after the event is gone, just in case the COVID police becomes a real thing. Because if they offer like a reward for any information, be a lot more snitching than just me. But I had a good on paper plan during the holidays, and I was sad during it because I was watching everyone else have a good time, and I was, here by myself. And but my spirits picked up the day after Christmas when my cousin Erica called, and she said, "Hey, can you drive to Florida? I'll take my mom and your mom we can all meet in Florida and rent a beach house and hang out, like the second week or so after January." And I was like, yes, I definitely want to do that. And so mom was like cool with it and everything too. But the next day she went to the doctor, and the doctor told her that her immune system was low, and that she needed to add some B12 to her vitamin regime. And she said, so therefore, like, I ain't going with y'all to Florida. Now, my heart was broken because I hadn't seen her in like over a year. And so I got really excited that, okay, like I get to see my family too, like everybody else has been with their family. And so when she said that she wasn't going, I was pretty broken up about it. And so I took a day to just kind of process like my feelings. And then I called her the next day and I said to her, I'm real salty that you canceled our trip. And she said, add garlic and pepper, you'll be all right. Now that really pissed me off because I'm heartbroken because I can't see my mama. And she ain't bothered like at all. So it took another day to process my feelings. I'm like, she is not understanding the program here. And so finally I talked with a friend of mine in LA, Mayor. And Mayor said he takes COVID tests every week. And, because of the work that he does. And he was like, Lex, listen, are you seriously telling me that you mad because your 71-year-old mama don't want to go to Florida in the middle of a pandemic? Like, that's what you mad about. And so when I said, when you put it like that, so I had to call mama and I was like, Mama, you was right. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And she was like, well, I know I was right. Like, y'all. And then she said, well, y'all can go to Florida and catch COVID and die if y'all want to, but I'm going to be right here. And then I said to her, I was like, look, now, good and well, if we died of COVID, you're going to jump in that casket. And she said, yeah, I probably would. She goes, but I want the option to be able to jump. So y'all know what, Emma Means, like, is Emma, I don't know if Emma Means is on there. Yes, there she is. She's sending love out. Okay, that's Emma Means. That's my mama, y'all. Hey, mama, I love you. And you were right. I'm telling the people here in the virtual pew that you were right. And I love you. And yes, I pray that y'all are being safe and that all is well in your space. I really have missed you. And there's been a lot that's been happening. But I'm careful to practice fidelity to like, okay, look, this is what I'm feeling in this moment and everything is good. I am also very careful to reflect back. Looking back, sometimes the hope that you need is as close as your memory. Something that you thought that you would never, ever, ever be able to overcome. Something that you thought would always, always, always be a part of who you were. And that is, that's kind of, where I am. That's where I attempt to be on a routine basis. And so where I am today is a good place. Y'all, it's a good day. So many amazing things have happened. One of the things that happened when we were on break is, we pull up the banner here, yours truly and the Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine virtual community was given I was awarded the Seeds Project Fellowship for 2021. Woo-hoo! So that is a cohort that is being with peers, other what we call Christian innovators, and people who are doing some amazing things outside of the faith-based box. not really kind of doing the traditional things, but just like just showing up in creative ways. I found out that there were a group of people, just as an aside, there was a seminary that was meeting, and they said a group of about 25 faculty and staff were in a conference room watching Jesus, Jazz, and Dessert Wine at Vespers. And they were spellbound. And I knew I was in a good place because I didn't ask them, now, which one did y'all watch? Because every time I step to the mic, I'm like, I am who I am, reverently irreverent, and surrounding myself with people who are free to be, themselves as well. And so that's just how we get down here. So as a result of all of these amazing things, and there's so many other things that are coming, and I'll be able to announce them. So yours truly is a Seeds Project Fellow for 2021. That brings me some exposure, some opportunities. And these folks are like, hey, we want to put money towards what you're doing. I'm like, okay, now see, y'all get the program, y'all with the business. But my fellow Seeds Project fellows, they are an amazing team, and I'm so grateful. My heart is always encouraged to know that I'm not out here alone doing amazing things. There are so many other folks that are getting it in. So there was that part. I'm in a good place. Said all that to say I'm in a good place, but to set you up kind of for the story that you're going to hear today. That has not always been the case. Now, one of the other things that there was somebody who posted, it's a sister friend, hashtag, not hashtag, at Pastor Bay, Levon Proverbs. She's an amazing sister. And she posted on, I think it was her Instagram page, this meme that says, that gave sort of a list of what it looks like when you know that you've healed. And one of those things is you look back on things that you've done in the past and you're not filled with shame. You're not like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And so I'm gonna hide it. So you might still be like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But you don't hide it. You be like, yeah, I did that twice. And then you keep it moving. You tell that story. You're like, but listen, it all worked out. That is how I feel about the story that I'm about to share with you right now. I was super young when this situation happened. Probably about, I had to have been like 10 years old, because I remember when I was 11, we moved to Missouri City. So we were living in South Park, in Southeast Houston community called South Park at the time. And I had a boyfriend. He was 14. His name was JoJo. And of course, you're like 10 and 14, like, I was like, I know it was problematic. But he was like a really cool guy for the most part. Usually when it's just the two of us, he was like really good and like, no problem, no drama, whatever. But one day, I guess his friends had said to him, like, you spend too much time, with your girlfriend, Alexis, you have to come and hang out with us. And so he does that. And then when he comes back from spending time with them, he was different. We were sitting, we were in the washateria. In the washateria, I always forget that, like other parts of the country, they call it the laundromat. But in Texas, we like the washateria, where you wash your clothes. We're in this apartment complex washateria, the community washateria. And they were saying, like, he was sitting on the washing machine and I was standing somehow in front of him. It was just a really odd kind of configuration. Normally he was really, really sweet, really cool. But for whatever reason, there was sort of this power stance. He's like perched on top of the washateria and I'm like standing there in front of him. And he says to me, do you love me? And I said, uh-huh. And he said, well, if you love me, you've got to pick one of these three things to prove that you love me. You've got to pick, you've got to let me hit you. You've got to let me quit you if you won't let me do any of these things, or give you a passion mark. And then he kept repeating sort of the trio of my choices: the hit, the quit, or the passion mark. Which one will you pick? Now, I'm 10 years old and I am aware of abuse in relationships. I am aware that not all relationships will work out. And I'm also aware that passion marks would definitely have got me a hell of a beat down from Emma Means. Done. Like, I just knew that. But he sat there perched on the washateria, swinging his legs like he had all the power. And it was up to me to choose which one that I needed to do to see to prove that I loved him. The hit, the quit, or the passion mark. And I remembered looking down at the ground, and I was kind of swaying to the side. And then I suddenly became aware that the door, there was not really a door, it was kind of this open, there wasn't a door attached to it, it was just like this open area. And it was like right there behind me. And so I just slowly began to take one step back, looking back, and then another step back, and then another step back before I was finally out on the sidewalk. I flanked right, and then I exercised my fourth option, which was to simply walk off. I don't remember if I talked with him again after that as his, quote, girlfriend. I don't remember us ever having that conversation. And believe it or not, to this day, he's still one of my really, really good friends. The issue that I have as I look back on that moment was how I clearly didn't know my worth. And perhaps I was putting that out there, which is why he felt like one day with his homeboys, he can come back and give me such an asinine option, 3 options: the hit, the quit, or the passion mark. The story that you're about to hear is a beautiful, powerful story about love and ancestral wisdom and guidance on both sides, I guess, of eternity. And the need for us to listen to those elder voices. They got some insight. They got some good stuff. The way that she's going to do Black love today, it's going to be very different. And I think you're going to be really, really pleased with it. She is one of my favorite people on the planet. She is also a master storyteller, and she's one of the favorites for Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine, everyone on the virtual pew. So please welcome Miss Star Robinson as she dresses her truth in story.
I love being a woman. I especially love being a Black woman. As we continue to embark upon this historical, monumental movement, 2021, where we have put a Black woman in the second highest chair in office in the White House. I am just, again, in love with being a Black woman. You know, who wouldn't be in today? So graciously, I was reminded of the beautiful, strong, intelligent women that have trained me by a simple post. It's the first day of Black History Month, and I'm on Facebook scrolling, and I am reading other posts and of wonderful women recalling the works of Audre Lorde, Maya Angelou, all the greats, right? And it was one post by one of my friends, Renee, that just really moved me. And her initial Black History Month post on February 1st, around 8 o'clock in the morning, was about her grandmother. And I thought, yes, Renee, yes, with the A's, yes, right? And so I read the post and I was just, completely moved. And after I finished the post, reading it, the first woman that popped into my mind was one of the most sophisticated, strong women in my family. And no, it wasn't my mama, not this time. It was actually my grandmother's sister, my Aunt Fronnie. She completely altered and enhanced all my thoughts on what it meant to be a woman, what a woman should be, do, think. She altered every thought I'd ever had about what a woman was supposed to be. at the tender age of 8. All right, so my Aunt Fronnie lived by herself. She was unmarried. She had no children. And so my cousin Monte and I used to walk every day to the One Stop, the candy store. We went maybe 4 or 5 times a day. Well, to go to the candy store, you had to walk past Aunt Fronie's house, right? And so in our 8-year-old minds, we just figured, there's no way we can walk past Aunt Fronie's house and not stop, right? We had to stop. But of course, we thinking, she don't have no kids. She don't have no husband. She lonely. She in that house sad and lonely. And so if she see us walk past her house, that's only going to compound the sadness and the loneliness because she didn't have anybody, right? We never thought in a million years that she chose this life. Never thought that. There's no way who would do that, right? So we stopped every time we went to the store, every day in the summer, and anytime, no matter what time of the year it was, we stopped by Aunt Fronie's house on our way to the store, on our way back from the store if we didn't stop on the way. So when we get to her house, every time, it didn't matter if we had been there for the 5th time. When we got on the porch and she opened the door, she was smiling. Come on in here. She had a raspy voice. Come on in here. We come on in, and she always had orange slices. That was her candy, orange slices. It would be sitting on her table in the candy dish, in the crystal candy dish, I add. And so she would give us the candy, and we would sit there and we would talk. And I loved my Aunt Fronie's house, loved it. It was like a museum of our family history. Not the people that lived in our hometown, but the people, as she would say, from back home, right? Her brothers and sisters, and some of her brothers and sisters that didn't make it, that died as babies. She had those pictures up, and she would tell us the stories, and we would walk around her house and eat orange slices and listen to our Aunt Fronnie, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. But we walking around listening to her, and I loved her house. It was so neat and minimal, but perfect, just like her. So on this one particular day, we standing outside across the street, and we are debating like we used to. We debating like, man, if we go into the store and we walk past Aunt Fronie's house and don't stop, she gonna be hurt. Her feelings gonna be hurt. And so we really didn't want to, but we said, all right, anyway, we're gonna go ahead anyway. So we walk on to the store. On our way back from the store, we stop for the 4th time at her house. And she opens the door and she's smiling, hey, get on in here. We come on in. But this particular day, she is dressed. She had on something similar to what I had on, only it was red. And she had her sweater on and her pocketbook. So we come in, we noticed that, but she sets it down. We sit down and we continue our regular mantra. Now, when we were walking up, we noticed the red truck sitting outside. And we knew that that was one of her friends. But of course, it was her friend. She only had friends. I mean, she wasn't married. She didn't have any kids, and she was lonely. All she had was us, right? So we noticed the truck outside, but we didn't pay much attention to it. We come on in. She lets us in. She puts her stuff down. So we're eating our slices, and she's telling us some more history about our family. And my cousin Monte gets up and looks out the door, and he turns around quick and he said, hey, Fronnie, you got somewhere to go? And she laughed and she said, yeah, actually I do. That's my boyfriend, HG, out there waiting for me. What? Boyfriend? Me and Monte looked at one another. Boyfriend? But now, mind you, this is my grandma's sister, so she ain't exactly young either. Boyfriend? Right, so this is the first time ever that I realized that her friend was her boyfriend. We had seen him, but we didn't know he was her boyfriend. So we are completely blown. So immediately we get up like, oh, we about to go. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go ahead and go. And she was like, y'all better sit down. So we sit back down, but me and Monte kind of looking at one another. So she continues to talk and we kind of sitting there, but she knows that we done got quiet. She knows because we judging. We sitting there like, now we done been in here for a good 35 minutes already. So, it's kind of rude. She needs to go. We ain't gonna hold her up, right? And this is her boyfriend, and we almost can't wait to get outside to talk about this shit. What? So, she, she kind of laughing at us a little bit because she can see all over our face. I mean, she know us, right? Our whole 8 lives, she been training us and loving us, so she know who we are. We sitting there judging, and so finally we tell her we got some place to be. Now another 10-15 minutes it went past, but now our friends is waiting on us. We gotta go. Our friends waiting on us, and so she just kind of laughed and she said, "Okay." So we get up to leave, and my cousin Monte, of course, walks out first. He walks out first, and so I give my Aunt Fronnie a kiss, and I go to walk out, and I get to the door, and she said, "Star," and all my elders said "Star," not "Star." "Star, come here." And so I turned around and I walked to her a little bit and I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she said, "Do you see me?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." Then she came all the way down into my little 8-year-old face and she said, "Do you see me?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And then she stood up, put her shoulders back, stepped back, and said, "Do you see me? You see me?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I'm kind of confused. What the hell? Yes, I see you. All 6 foot, maybe 175 pounds of my Aunt Fronnie, because she had on some heels, but she was tall and glorious, Amazon glorious. And so I look her up and down, up and down. She stood there, up and down. She let me take her all in, all of her. And then she got back in my face and said, "Because what we have, they will always wait." She stood back up and I looked at her and she said, "Because you're going to look just like this when you grow up. Just like this." She got back in my face again and said, "Because what we have, they will always wait." And she kissed me, stood up, grabbed her stuff, and we walked out the door. And I watched HG hustle out of his truck, around that truck, open that door for her. She stepped that long leg in, closed the door, and me and Monte stood there with our mouth open. She smiled at us and waved and rolled on, and me and Monte was like, "What?" Right? But in that moment, she transformed me. She picked my 8-year-old self up and put me on my launching pad into womanhood. She said so much in that simple statement and has stayed with me since that day all my life. From that moment on, what I thought of her, what I believed as far as who she was out of this universe. Because in that moment, I knew that she chose her life. She chose her. She chose her. She made a conscious decision not to marry, not to have children. She made a conscious decision to live her life for her and her family. See, because she always chose us. It didn't matter that what I found out later, that HG had already been sitting out there for 35 minutes. When we walked up, "Oh, it's my family. These are my babies. I know they've been here 5 times today. Come on in." It transformed me. It changed me, right? I had no idea who my Aunt Fronnie was, and until that very moment at 8 years old, she told me that I could choose me. I could choose me. I didn't know another woman that wasn't married. I didn't know anyone that didn't have kids. Now, my mother isn't married, has never been, and that's a whole nother funny story, but she did have 2 children. And I'm one of them. And based on that, who I have become as a woman started in that moment. in that moment. She made it okay for me to put my shoulders back. She made it okay for my arms to be out. She made it okay for me to wear lace. She made it okay for me to be 6 foot and wear heels. And HG was 6'4". So that's who I modeled myself after. And I didn't know that until that post, the first day of February 1st, when that was the image that popped into my mind for Black History Month. And I am a strong, confident stallion of a woman because my Aunt Fronnie told me that they will always wait. I have instilled all of that beautiful confidence and assertion and who I am, strong Black woman, into my daughter. And I promise you, Aunt Fronnie, I absolutely promise you that she knows they will always wait.
Wow. Okay, now you know I've always loved Aunt Fronnie. I love your whole family, actually. They are some serious characters. And my only regret is that there are some stories that we just gonna have to keep between us. Like all of them ain't for the mic, but they all hella funny. But I've always loved it, and I've always loved this particular story. Girl, her and HG sat out in that truck. And when it was time for him to get out and open that door, he got out. I love it. I want to show you some of the comments from the virtual pew, though. Dr. Trill's like, oh, he knew this was gonna be epic. Stainless was like, do you see me? Yes, they will always wait. Yes. And I love when you I think it was Dr. Lamb who said, I can choose me. That is so important. So often, Audre Lorde says that if women, I think she says Black women in particular, if we ever get to a point where we are no longer defining ourselves according to how we need to attract a man or like what suits him, like when we basically order a universe around what feels right to us, she said, we're going to upset the whole social order. If we do like Aunt Fronnie, like everything changes. It's a whole new game. Okay, Dr. Troy says, family will take the time to impart and impact someone's life. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is such an important role of all of us, of all of us. Who is that? Tekka? Oh my gosh, what an amazing story. They will always wait. Yes. And she says, you look beautiful, Star. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me show you. I want to pull up a couple of pictures. We have Aunt Fronnie here. Okay, I don't know how this is going to work with the two of us on screen, but okay. So can you see it, Star? That's the
yes,
first.
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's my mama.
Look at that.
That she's
Aunt
holding.
Fronnie, look at them cheekbones. Like she's like chisel, and that's red lipstick. We need to be clear. And this one right here. Can you see it? That's her. And how old is she? And this one?
She was a teenager.
She's a teenager. Okay.
At a table though with drinks.
All right. I think I can. Look, I think it was all right then.
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, beautiful one. You know how much I love all of your stories and just love you dearly. So I'm gonna put you backstage though, real quick. Okay, hold on. Oh, Aunt Fronnie. She gave us a good word. And during my energizing memory, I have one of my own images that I would like to share. But at Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers, there are 4 things that we do in addition to adult storytelling. The first is that we offer a public lament. And right now, as we are here on this venerated, honorable space, loving ourselves and loving each other, and I pray that we're becoming contagious with some good stuff, and we're going to go out and happily infect the rest of the world. That's what I believe is happening with everyone here that's a part of that's in the virtual pews of Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine at Vespers. What's happening right now, though, that I lament is south of here, south of where I am in Florida right now, there is a conservative, a Christian conservative group that is meeting. And 2 days ago, they literally hauled out a 6-foot gold statue of the 45th president, the former guy. And people were clapping and applauding. And I felt like they were also bowing. And it bothered me. not that they would venerate him, but that they would also somehow attach their brand to that of Christ. That was problematic for me, because then when I'm having dinner with the atheists, they're like, okay, you got to be a special kind of stupid to take on the same brand that them clowns are doing. And I'm like, nah, peeps, that's not the right brand. That's not who Jesus is. And, or, not the one, not the Jewish revolutionary mystic, not Emmanuel, God with us. That ain't it. That ain't it. And, but I lament that is actually happening right now, and that there is news coverage, there is press coverage that is being garnered all over the world with that bullshit that they're doing. That is my lament. But here's my prophetic hope. Since 2015, I have been reading the prophetic text. I've been reading the Bible that Jesus read. And it's very interesting to read the prophets and then to reread the gospel narratives. It has a whole different, a deeper, more layered nuances and meanings to read the Bible that Jesus read, and then to read to read the New Testament scriptures, the gospel text of what Jesus says. And so, so much of what Christ was saying is, hey, FYI, God makes room for all of us. And that is my prophetic hope, specifically found in the book of Amos. I have been, and it bowled me over yesterday, because now before I started reading Amos, I had read the entire book of Jeremiah. I did it in like 3 days. It was my part of my meditation reading. And I tell you, after reading Jeremiah, like each time I needed some wine. It didn't even have to be dessert wine. I just needed some wine. I'm like, oh my God, this is heavy. Some heavy stuff, but there were so many jewels and so many different things. And so by the time I got to Amos, I was like, okay, look, I can't do all of this like all over again. So I just referenced some of the parts that I had highlighted in previous reads. And here's one prophetic hope that I highlighted that I would like to offer today. Amos said, may there be a flood of justice and an endless river of righteous living. Now, righteous living ain't about, oh my God, I want to not lie to people. I want to not curse. I'm not going to use profanity when I'm preaching my sermons. That's not righteous living. Righteous living is looking out for your neighbors. It's looking out for the people around you. It's looking out for the least, the lost, the last, the left out. It is casting your lots with a movement that said there is no lack, there is no scarcity, there is more than enough for all of us. And that is what righteous living looks like. And so I thought, that's it. That's all of it. That is my prophetic hope, that a flood of justice would overtake all of the injustice and all of the discrimination and all of the ways in which the least, the lost, the last, the left out have been dealt a bad hand. There's room for all of us. And I am looking forward to that flood that's going to be a flood of justice. It's going to make it right. All will be well in all manner of things. That is my prophetic hope. Here's my energizing memory. Star talked about her Aunt Fronnie. Let me bring up my Aunt Mary. That's my Aunt Mary. This, she is my mother's, she's my mother's oldest sister. She died November 2019. And was an amazingly free spirit as well. And so it's interesting that you said Aunt Fronnie didn't get married. I don't believe Aunt Mary got married either. I believe that the two significant loves that I knew of were both her, quote, common law husband. But she lived life on her terms, and she had a good time doing it. And she was a generous spirit. And the people, her friends who were at her funeral, said the only thing that we could have done differently to honor her, because we all told some funny stories about it, because she was just a funny person, and she loved Heineken. That was her drink. In fact, I was with her one time. My auntie had brought a case of Heineken, and by the time she had finished like 4, I was still nursing 1, and she was getting mad at me like, okay, you ain't wasting that. She was so mad. She was concerned that I was going to waste that Heineken. I was like, no, Auntie, I'm just like, I can't do it like you. I do it like me. And so at her funeral, one of her friends came up to us and said, y'all y'all later to rest real nice. I said, the only difference y'all could have done was had a Heineken put a Heineken in that casket with her. And so my mom and my auntie, my mom's baby sister, and we took them to Hooters after the funeral. Went to Hooters, and we toasted with Heineken to my Aunt Mary's sweet memory. And I think it's important for us to remember that when we're talking about Black history and we're venerating all of these people that everybody else knows, we got to know that we know some history makers in our families too. We got some good folks, and we've got to dot their memory and celebrate them as a part of our family ancestral's Black history. They deserve a place. So make room for them. Love you, Aunt Mary. I have her, I don't know if you can see there with Nina Simone. I got Aunt Mary back there with us. That picture stays on a little case that I have in my bedroom. And I get her fresh flowers every week. And I felt like it was just appropriate for her to come with me today. Now, if I were to say to y'all, she said to me, "Hey, can I come to the Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine?" Y'all be like, "Okay, oh Jesus, could somebody please go see about Lex?" All right, energizing memory. The last one is giving. Now, listen, we have a responsibility to give whatever it is that we have in surplus, or even sometimes what we have access to. And giving is not just about money. Give time, give grace, give forgiveness to that person who has wounded you. Give them some forgiveness, give them some grace, give consolation. The way that you have been nurtured, others are going around and there's a ton of stuff that's happening. Give them some of what you got that's been good. Give. And also, if you have finances, then please give to those as well. I love that I get to participate in giving with two particular ministries that I support. But I have also begun to stretch and to carry money around so that I can give to people on the street. And I know that a lot of people are like, "No, don't do that. They're going to waste it or whatever." I'm like, so this money don't belong to me. It belongs to the Lord. And FYI, sometimes the thing that you need to help you in some crazy situations is just a beer or a glass of wine. It does some amazing things sometimes. And so far be it from me to sip occasionally when I need to, and then to deny that pleasure to anybody else. I give what I am a steward of, not an owner of, and I pray that it blesses them immensely. So please do the absolute same. Now, our blessing and our sending. Let me go to the I call this the virtual pew. Let's see, Melissa and she says, as a woman, period, that was an empowering affirmation. Yes, all of that. Thank you, Star. That was special. It's Pamela. Love you. Missed you this week, Pam. Oh, yeah, Melissa's like, CPAC is a cult, white nationalist convention under the veil of a patriotic Republican Party. Don't forget that Jesus part too. Now, they real big on that Jesus part. It's disgraceful and frightening to think so many in America of this mentality and live around us. Very disconcerting. You are absolutely right, Melissa. But I think that what is even more hopeful and impactful is that ain't you. You are a powerful, progressive voice, and you always have insightful things to say. And the way I see it, the long arm of the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice. It's long, but it bends towards justice. And so we can never act like this is the predominant group. They're like a cult. So there's that. But yeah, Stainless, a flood of justice. Absolutely. That is what we're after. Okay. All right. So next week we have Miss Tekka Thompson. She was last Jesus Jazz and Dessert Wine, the last year's series. She was definitely a crowd favorite, and she is an emerging master storyteller. She is so many beautiful things, and I pray that you would return next week and catch her story about a very interesting situation that happened. And I don't want to give anything away. I want you to come back, and I want you to experience Tekka on her own. But I promise you that story is going to land, and it's going to do some amazing things. She's very much a healer with her stories. The healing that she has experienced, she's very gracious, and she shares that so richly. So set your reminder to return 5:30 next week to Jesus, Jazz, and Dessert Wine. Okay, now for our sending. Love is not an option. May the command to love lead you, me, us towards creative solutions. May we believe in the power of our own voice. May we believe that when we say a flood of justice coming through and an endless river of righteous living, that means that we partner with the least lost, the last, the left out, that we do our part, that we don't diminish or call it a, quote, little thing. It's those little things that become big things and make big shifts and leave a mark, a healthy mark, a new way. It's en route anyway. Don't drown in it. Swim in it, because that's a good flood. That's one that we want to be a part of. The mighty flood of justice and an endless river of righteous living that is all connected to the fact that we have chosen love as the dominant power in all of the universe, and we have attached our lots to it. So go, and may there be a pandemic of love to sweep us and to take us into new spaces. All right, fam, I will see you next week